All right, guys, it's been a while, and I know I say that every intro, and it is what it is, so we're back with another episode, and this one, we have WIZZO, the one and only WIZZO, badass producer. In fact, he's working on many projects today. As you guys could tell from the intro, this is gonna be lit. Like, comment, and subscribe. I need you guys to always do that. We gotta get the views up, so while you're watching the live and you're grabbing your popcorn, and maybe you got, maybe it's all cold, so you're under the cobija, maybe you wanna hit the like button really quick for us. Share it with somebody. We do got a website, keepingitrealsince.com. I'm gonna put it here, I probably won't, but it's gonna be somewhere here. There's gonna be a link in the description. Remember, guys, it's easy to just show support with just click it, click it, click. All right, let's start the episode.
You keep up with the sports and shit?
I'm the worst person to ask questions about, bro. I won't know anything.
Dude,
but I'm good as fuck.
Huh? You don't know boxing and all that shit?
Nothing.
Zero. You're locked into the studio on music?
It just doesn't. I don't really care for that shit.
Yeah. It's
like,
just whatever.
I'm gonna just keep it simple. Like, and I know you guys heard it. I can't remember who says it. I think it's Einstein. It says, good minds discuss people, great minds discuss ideas. So that's how I think about it.
There we go.
So
I like that.
I never
that
really
one,
had
dude.
like I was just talking about other people's like, oh yeah,
It's like,
it's cool.
They scored 40 points.
Yeah, but it's like, what does that do
How
for
does
me
that
and my
affect you?
my
You're
progression?
commenting on the circus. Yeah.
I mean, if I guess if I had like sports figures that I looked up to, like Kobe, I admire his determination and stuff.
Yeah.
But I couldn't fucking tell you anything about it.
Yeah.
About him or his career or anything. I just know that his determination shines through.
The mindset and all that.
Yeah. So I'm attracted to that. Kind of stuff.
You like the stories and their mindset and the way they think and shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Not if they scored 20 points in the game.
But I grew up playing sports. I coached teams. I was like really good. I was supposed to be a soccer player. My uncle's Osvaldo Sanchez. I don't know if you guys know.
Oh yeah, hell yeah! What the hell?
So
really?
Yeah. So like I was supposed to be a soccer player. So like it's not like I don't care for sports. I'm not the kind of person that talks about them.
Yeah, exactly.
You might catch me in the field, but not really like.
You just know how to play.
Yeah,
you're in the moment kind of person. Yeah.
Exactly.
So we won't catch you sports betting in Vegas and shit.
I mean, actually, because I trade stocks.
Yeah.
I was like, I might actually be good at sports betting because I don't have I'm not married to a team or a player, so like it's more analytical for me.
Yeah.
So I was like, I kind of got interested in doing that. Like,
there you go.
You like more the data and all that, no?
Yeah. So I'm just more data driven.
Yeah,
my cousin just told me about this.
Dude, man, ever since I read, the thing is, I read so many books on that. Like we have a fuckload of books. But I think Russ is kind of like in a really small form, bro. Yeah,
dude, I love
really
good,
HUSSLE when he was, I think, on the Breakfast Club. And that's where I kind of got aware of that book, man.
Yeah.
Fuck. That changed the game for not only me, but I cut hair. All my clients, every time I put them up on that, dude, they say every time they've read it once, they've read it a second and third time, it's a new book, bro.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And the title's a little deceiving.
Yeah.
From the perspective of like what the content is.
Yeah.
So I tell people, because I recommend books to people. I'm like, way superior man. It sounds like male chauvinistic, machismo, but it's really not. It's like it's really how to get in tune with the energies around you.
Exactly,
and the natural energies.
Exactly, and being yourself as a man, and
and how to deal with the female energy as well.
Exactly.
I think that's really helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Like how to deal with the feminine energy that's out there and how to kind of maneuver through that, because it's a whole different language,
It is. And the thing is, I feel like when women see the book, they're like, oh, you're just being a
I'll be with my girl and I'll recommend that book and I just have to preface it like that, like, hey, it's not really like what you think, it's not like
they should have done better on the title.
Girls,
They're not talking shit, I promise.
All right, welcome everybody to the Keeping It Real Since podcast. We got a special guest today, Grammy-nominated producer, and today we got WIZZO. Welcome, man. Welcome to the podcast,
guys.
man.
I appreciate it. I'm over here.
I think,
thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I want you to introduce yourself, man. I want you to tell the people, who you are, man.
Yeah, so my name is Mario Fernandez. I was born in Mexico, in Guadalajara. I came out here, when I was 3 years old. Left when I was 7. So I think combined, I've been out here in Mexico, maybe 6 years. But I spent all my life out here. I've been in Santa Ana for a very long time. I'm a musician. I'm a producer. I'm a recording engineer. I'm an inventor. I'm a designer. I'm a mechanical engineer. Do a lot of things I like to do things that are very difficult. Kind of keeps me excited about that stuff. I'm a business owner, and I avid reader, and you know, I'm a seeker of truth. You know, so.
Yeah, dude, I like that. So what got you into producing and engineering and all that stuff?
Yeah, man. So you know, I was a skate kid, you know.
Oh, yeah.
After like kind of leaving, you know, my parents, I always say like they always try to, you know, we were always in the hood, you know. It's for a reason, you know, like it's just hard, you know. So my parents were always near kind of like a center point. And it, you know, when I got out here, it was just kind of far away from a lot of like, you know, you're never too far away from danger as a kid, but it was just a little bit more mellow out here. So I was able to kind of settle down and have friends and things like that. So I grew up, you know, skateboarding and just being into like the whole punk scene and things shit like that. So music was just always tight to me, and you know, just it was just cool.
Were you listening to punk music or hip hop?
Yeah, no, I listened to everything.
Everything.
Yeah. You know, but out here being, you know, a skater, I think it was just when the skate culture and the hip hop culture were starting to kind of merge. So it was kind of dope for me. But to be honest, bro, after like Tupac, I kind of chilled on hip hop because I was like, it just didn't, I couldn't like connect with it.
Yeah.
You know? And just having friends and things like that, we're out here just kind of causing mayhem. So it was like the skate scene kind of fit a little bit more like where my mindset was at. And, you know, I just started playing, you know, music with my friends, and it was just kind of fun at time. We played at Chain Reaction. We played at, you know, some local.
So like playing guitar?
Yeah. So I play guitar. But I was like, even then I was like, you know, just doing random shit. Like I remember I made my own guitar amp because I couldn't afford it, so I just took like I took a fucking like a car amp, and then I just fucking hacked it, and I put like a 12 volt DC so I could fucking, you know, connect it to the shit. And
dude, how old were you when you did that, man?
I must have been 16.
Damn, inventor for sure, bro.
Yeah. No, my dad, you know, really kind of put that on me. He was like a mechanic, auto electrician. So
okay.
Yeah, so I started kind of doing that with my friends, and then, you know, bands never really work out. Too many opinions, and you're too young to give a shit anyways.
Yeah.
And then my homie, he introduced me to this thing called Fruity Loops, and then
that's you right there.
that was it. You know, it was it. You know, and it was just, you know, a lot of homies that I had, they were like, oh, I know this person, I know this person. So I was like, you know what, I think this is what I want to do, and so I just started doing that. Just had a passion for it, but I you know, I kind of was starting to go into just elevate a little bit, you know, kind of take the opportunity of being out here and like kind of do something with it. I really wanted to kind of make my parents proud, so I started to kind of go like the white collar, you know, towards that. Yeah. Got a job and started doing all those shits, and I got pretty high up, and it was really discouraging to like get to the top of your field. You know, I was in network security and computer at the time.
Snap. Yeah.
So I got to the top of my field, and you know, I was like 20 years old, and I'm just like, fuck, I'm gonna sit in this fucking desk for 20 years. Like,
you weren't feeling it.
Was this after doing all the school and everything?
It was after doing all that shit, just going through the process and like still kind of making beats on the side, still kind of like doing those things on the side. It was like a hobby.
Paying tuition and all that shit.
Yeah, you know, paying all that shit. You know, just watching my parents like just push that hard, and you know, I kind of felt a little bit of the pressure of, you know, I'm coming out here an immigrant, being able to get, you know, go to school and all that shit, getting accepted to different schools. So I kind of pushed that, but it was just really, it was discouraging to like have that just like be my reality where I'm like, fuck, like I'm doing so much for this company and they're not even showing me love.
No love.
So I was like, you know what? I could do this anytime.
Right. Yep.
I could fall back on this. Like I already made it. Like I'm good.
You know how to do it.
I know how to do it, you know? And I have built little businesses as I'm, you know, I've always been an entrepreneur and, you know, seeking knowledge and like, trying to elevate myself, you know. Once I actually quit my job, straight up just quit my job, and I just kind of started hustling, brother. You know what I mean? And it was hard because, you know, you go from like your parents are really proud of you, like finishing school and all that shit, to now you're
doing something completely different.
You're coming down the stairs every 20 minutes because someone's got a 20, you know. So so it's like I went in that direction, and that's kind of how I got started in music. And, And you know, I just kind of kept it from there.
So back to the Fruity Loops stuff. Program wise, Fruity Loops or that Apple? What's that
Ableton?
Ableton.
Yeah. I use both.
You use both.
Yeah.
Because they do say like some people say if you use Fruity Loops, it's not for vocals, and you should use Ableton Live or something.
Yeah. You know what? I'll give it to Fruity Loops though. They've been really like putting it down these last, you know, like I don't know what version they're at. I think the last version that I upgraded from was like 11 and then I went to 20.
Yeah.
Just because like I just like
You already used to that.
I feel like
that
it's
shit.
easy.
Yeah. But 20 and up, they have all kinds of cool shit.
Yeah.
Sample stretching, you can record vocals. Like I know a lot of people that do really well in FL Studio. For me, it's more about the sound engine.
Oh, okay.
The programming language that FL Studio has written, and everything else is like they're completely different. And so that's why you don't really see an FL Studio that's native. But for me, it's like, I don't know if you guys ever used the soft clipper.
Oh, I've seen it on FL Studio.
Yeah. So like the soft clipper is kind of like, it's like a magic wand.
Oh,
so
shit.
like the math behind the soft clipper and like what it does to sound is like, it's pretty crazy. So like the engine that FL Studio has, like I remember just kind of going through the trenches in hip hop.
Yeah.
And people were always looking for that sound. They're like, oh, just run your shit through this. Just take my drums and run them through FL Studio. It does something to it, and I've gone down the rabbit hole, but you know, the short version is the sound engine, what it does and how it handles the samples themselves.
Yeah.
It's just, they just knock, bro.
Yeah.
They knock. They fucking
Every time.
knock. Every fucking time.
Yep.
No matter what.
Yep.
And if you use any other software, you just have to do a lot more.
More
like
technical work.
Yeah. Like I have some homies that like swear by Logic, but Logic sounds like paper
Logic
thin
is another one.
to me. But the melodies are super dope.
Yeah.
You know, I know some homies that use Reason. And Reason's like analog, like VSTs are fucking fire.
They are.
But like it's harder to do the things that I do in FL Studio.
Yeah.
So now what I do is I do all my melodies in like Ableton.
Okay.
And then I do all my drums in FL Studio.
In FL Studio. Is it because it's easier with the patterns and like the
Yeah,
things?
laying that whole shit down. But, but it's also beyond that. The ability to swing in FL Studio is literally a knob.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
So I'm able to swing my shit pretty like it feels like actual drums. You know, I used to play drums too. So
so you know how it should sound
so like
exactly.
I'll just like I'll like air drum it and like I'm like, okay, I gotta move this forward. I gotta move this back. You know, so.
So what was your guys' band called?
Oh fuck! It was Daydreams and Car Crashes.
Oh fuck!
Yeah, so like that's like the melodic, like hardcore era. You know, like that
super
era.
punk.
Yeah, super punk. Like screamo era. You know,
Hell yeah!
You screaming on the mic, bro?
Yeah, bro. I was going in. You know, I'm telling you, we played a Chain Reaction in Hoagie Bar Mic.
Dude, that's fucking sick, dude.
Yeah, so it was kind of dope. You know,
Yeah.
You know,
do the homies still do music?
One of my homies still does. He still plays bass. He hits me up every now and then. He's like, "Hey, we should fucking get the band together and just fuck around," you know?
Oh yeah.
But I think out of all the homies, I'm the one that kind of pushed through it.
Yeah.
At the highest level, I guess.
Dude, that's fucking
And
sick.
this is all happening like you said you were hustling and then you got into music. Is that how it happened?
No. Like I first just started like doing music and bands and shit like that, and then I was like, okay, I have to kind of, I had the software and I had the ideas, but I didn't know how to turn that into an actual business. So then I went to work, just did my white collar shit.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't do it anymore, and that's when I came back and took my music a little more serious.
So how do you take music and or how did you take music and turn it into like, damn, this is how I'm gonna live? Because I feel like that's tough for a lot of people. It's like,
scary 'cause they don't pay right away.
Yeah, no, it doesn't, and it hasn't to the level where I would say like, oh yeah, it's completely the only thing I do. I think for me, it was more or less, I was hustling, so I didn't really need money.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, oh, I gotta make money. So when I was pulling up, when I was going out there and kind of just exposing myself to the world, they say fake it till you make it, bro. For me, like that was actually true at one point. Like there was like a month where I didn't, like I wasn't a real producer, but I had this homie that's like, yo, I'm gonna introduce you to everybody I know. I'm just gonna, and he was like a Hollywood socialite kind of dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of my homies from the band.
Okay,
separated, and then
shit.
he kind of went out there and like, he knows everybody. At the time, he knew everybody. So I was like, yo, like just tap me in,
Yeah.
Like, so he was going out there, and I would just tell people like, I'm a producer, and like people were like, oh, that's fucking cool, and I would just make some shit up, but it started to feel more real.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like I gotta make this shit real. You know? So he introduced me to what became my mentor. One of his friends was going away, and he's like, yo, we're gonna fucking party with with our homie Jay, R.I.P. This cat died a long time ago, MTV cat, and he's like, yo, we're gonna say, we're gonna peace out Jay, and I want you to meet my homie Steve DeMarchi. And I was like, oh yeah, for sure. So we get to this, to this little LA apartment, and people were just drinking and fucking around, and I met this dude, and he's like, yo, like, I was like, yo, like, I'm a producer, like, and he's like, all right, well, just come around, just come around, and I had Tree at the time, so he's like, just bring a little Tree. So that was kind of my edge into the door. I would just show up to this dude's studio. It was in Studio City, and he would just like let me be me, just
do your thing.
Yeah, and it was dope because we did a bunch of different drugs there, but it was cool because I was in a safe place.
Yeah.
And in like a really creative place. So I always feel like I'm thankful for that. Because I know a lot of people put themselves in a lot of danger out there. It's crazy out there. These kids are dying of fentanyl.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Especially nowadays.
Not to excuse drug use and not to condone it, but the youth will be the youth.
Yep.
And so I feel fortunate to have been in a situation where I could explore things that I don't eventually like sustain.
Yeah.
But it was like eye opening for me and creatively like it was like an awareness. So. And he taught me everything, man. All I had to do was just bring an eighth or something. Dude. It was really cool. I have a lot of respect for him. I still talk to my mentor.
Dude, that's dope.
He kind of taught me everything.
Yeah,
really everything. And I got to work on, at the time they were doing the Menudo.
Oh, shit. You worked on that?
Yeah, like the...
what was the album, bro? It was like Ricky Martin, right?
I have no idea. It was a show.
Yeah,
so I got to work on the MTV show.
Oh, gotcha.
So I learned a lot of like systematic like mixing and production, like the fundamentals. So
is that where you learned it pretty much, like you leveled up your game?
Yeah, for sure. Because I was just making beats, at the house. I had Sony Acid, and like I was just reading and trying to like. There was no like the proliferation of YouTube really wasn't a thing.
Yeah,
it was more forums. So I would go to forums and like just learn as much as I could.
Yeah.
And I just taught myself a bunch of shit, And he really helped me kind of hone that shit down and gave me an opportunity. I mean, really what you see now as like this whole online marketing, like they were kind of pioneering it. They were like, hey, we're going to get these rappers and we're going to like put them online and nobody's ever done this before. So I was like, shit, let's fucking do it. And he's like, you guys and a bunch of other people. And I was like, fuck it, let's run it. And I think that whole idea just ran so fast beneath their feet that they weren't able to grasp it. But it was just cool to be part of that kind of start, because it's like when I got into music, it was like, how the fuck do you even do this shit?
Yeah.
Who do you?
How do you connect to people?
How do you connect with people?
Yeah.
How do you make a living out of this?
Yeah.
Shit? So it was cool to see like, okay, this is how you make money.
You
get online, and that's when music Twitter came about.
True.
So that was kind of like my start.
Yeah. So you were doing like you were working with like MTV, you said, stuff like that. I think I read online too. We were just reading recently. You even did the tour with Tom Kennedy or something, the Get Home Safely tour.
Yeah. So that was a little bit further down the line after I started kind of working with Nipsey. I started working on my bro Scheme. I don't know if you guys know Scheme.
Yeah.
So he and I started doing a lot of work together, and he's like, hey bro, like, I want you to mix my album. I want you to executive produce it. I was like, bet, say no more. Because I was already, working with them. I just like his voice.
Yeah.
He has like a really like dope voice. And later I found out that he's like, his great grandfather is Howlin' Wolf. I don't know if you guys know who Howlin' Wolf is. Man, that's like a blues legend, bro. I'm sure that if you guys play a song,
we're going to fall in love.
If we would have heard it already,
I think one of the songs is Speed Lightning.
Yeah.
Speed Lightning.
Speed Lightning. We're gonna have to play that
you gotta have to look that up.
Yeah.
He's like a blues legend.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started working with him, and he's like, yo, like, like help me get my shit straight. So tapped in with him. We did his shit at Paramount, and then he's like, yo, I'm gonna go on tour with Dom because they were good homies, and he's like, would you mind going on tour with me and just press play? And I was like, bro, I'm not gonna go on tour and press play on you. I'm gonna go on tour and DJ for you. And I wasn't a DJ, but I wasn't gonna like be
fumble it.
Nah, bro. So I just hit up all my homies. I was like, my DJ homies. I was like, show me some shit in 2 weeks. They showed me everything they did, and 2 weeks later, I opened up my first show for like 2,000 people in Baltimore.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, so it was like swim.
Yeah.
So
hey, do the nerves get the best of you when you're doing something like that?
It's funny you say that because I always tell people I'm not afraid of anything. I just don't like the anticipation. I don't like waiting to do something.
You want to do it now.
I want to do it right now.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, I did acting in school and things like that, you know, so like arts and like being in front of people has never really been my issue.
It's not foreign, yeah.
Nah, like, but like I'll be like, oh shit, like, you know, I'll have like
The
anxiety,
butterflies and shit, yeah.
But when I'm on stage or like I'm in front of people, like it just like, it just
Easy.
flows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even tripping or like if I fumble, like I'm not like, oh shit,
Yeah.
like, you know, because some people self-implode and, you know,
Yeah.
it's not for all of us. It's, you know, we all have our weaknesses and our strengths.
Yeah.
But for me, it was never that. You know, my biggest fear on that tour, and it's funny, was to call the wrong city.
Oh,
You know, like,
yeah, we've
blah,
seen that.
blah, you know. And it was funny because I think I talked about it so much that my homie Drew Bird, we were at the last end of the, you know, one of the last shows, and he called the wrong you know city.
So, thank you, Baltimore. You didn't say Louis.
And they kind of ate him up, and I was just like, fuck. I was like, damn, Drew.
They hit him
like,
with the
got
booze?
you.
No
Yeah,
way,
you know,
bro.
so that was my biggest fear, just calling the wrong city.
Yeah.
You know, I had a couple of times where like, I didn't like cross the fader as I was, you know, so
shit,
like there was
yeah.
like just a little bit of music playing in the background, or like I accidentally restarted the song, you know, but not like
It wasn't anything
cutting it,
major.
yeah. Or like completely fumbling it, you know.
Yeah.
So, but it was really dope. We did I think we did like 42 cities or something like that.
Holy
Yeah.
shit, dude.
Yeah.
So you didn't
Damn.
have any artists like, you know, there was a video where Cardi B, her DJ was fucking up, and she just grabs the mic and just throws it at him. So you
No,
had
bro.
none of
Like
that.
actually, it was kind of the opposite. Like
Yeah.
I was actually kind of getting into my groove
Yeah.
so well that like I actually had to turn it down because like a show is a performance. You know, it has to crescendo at the main artist, and I was like really turning up the crowd really early on. So like it was kind of reverse for me. I actually ended up feeling like I was doing a really good job. You know, so never really had anybody throw the mic at me. You know, so,
Everybody's out
yes,
chilling
you
already.
know,
Yeah.
we all make mistakes. You know?
So you went to the 42 cities and you did every show. You DJ'd every one of those.
Yeah.
Holy
So
shit.
I opened up for, you know, Scheme, and I opened up for Dom. So
Yeah.
right before their big set, I was an opening DJ.
You're the
if you
opening
wanna call
DJ.
it, yeah.
Dude, that's dope, bro.
Yeah, so I would just play like West Coast shit. You know,
Hell
like, I was
yeah.
playing all the shit they were playing out here and out there, and you know they were loving it. You know.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What did the playlist consist of?
Oh man, you guys remember J305?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm that nigga.
Yeah.
J305.
Bro, I was playing that shit out there, and they're like, "Damn, who's this fucking white kid?"
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. What's he know
it
about
was
this?
crazy, you know. But they were loving it because it was
Yeah.
like some LA shit, you know.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think they had heard his record had just
Yeah.
broken out here. So I was just playing everybody's records out here, whether I liked them or not, or whether I vibe with them or not. I was just trying to like, I was like, yo, I kind of have to play my part, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know. This
What-
is important, you know.
Yeah.
So I just played everybody's records that I could get my hands on.
Well, they're also at a Dom Kennedy concert
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
You know, it's West
so
Coast,
it's like it's West Coast. So I was
Yeah.
playing all the West Coast and just trying to drop everybody's track that I had access to at the time.
So you're learning music, you're building relationships, and then you mentioned the what was it, Get Home Safely?
Get Home Safely.
So
Safely
you
tour.
mentioned that you linked with Nip. That was after Nip, right? So how did you end up linking with Nip? Because he's been actually, he was grinding before he actually got famous, and
Yep.
a lot of people didn't.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
I remember Max Kellerman on ESPN. He was the only one banging Nip way back in the day from when
really?
it was his mixtape
Oh,
era.
snap.
Yeah.
So you were at what point did you meet Nip? What was the year and how did
yeah,
how
bro,
did
I'm
that
not
happen?
even gonna front. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna fake the funk. Like, I hadn't heard of Nip, you know,
Uh-huh.
like because I was just head down making beats. You know,
Right.
I wanted to put myself on and to concern myself with what other people were doing. I probably wouldn't have achieved what I had done, but I was blessed enough to like people were fucking with me at the time. So like I had a couple of homies that were like, send me some beats, and so I was sending beats to homies that were like active on music Twitter, because that was what it was. You know, that's how you would be able to get. And it's fucking dope. I actually think that you know, it's kind of sad that those opportunities don't exist now. You know, like Nip would always put out his email address, like, you know, send beats for Nip 31. So you know he's on his 31th email of people, you know, asking for beats.
Shit,
You know,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't know if it was me just sending beats out to every name, or if it was him, but somebody sent my beat to NIPSEY, and then I remember, bro, I was in my underwear making beats at home in a hot ass day just like today, bro, and fools hit me. They're like, "Oh, you're on that Nip, and then I immediately like was like, who's Nip? You know, I looked him up. I was like, bro, like this fool's fucking dope as fuck.
Oh,
you know?
yeah?
And I was on his shit, and I started going through the catalog, and I was like, fuck, like I can't believe I missed it. You know, I said it, but I knew why I missed it because I wasn't really care about anybody.
Yeah.
But I was like, fuck, you know, I gotta reach out to bro. And so I just fucking was like, yo, I produce, you don't got a clue. Like, fuck with me. Like,
let's
whatever
get
you
together.
wanna do. And he's like, bet.
Oh, he
up.
just responded.
He just said, pull up.
Oh shit.
So I
and that
pulled
was to
up.
an email?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because I know he's been, you know, he's on his music stuff. He's trying to
Yeah.
produce and stuff, and he sent stuff out to like Currency and stuff like that. And sometimes it is discouraging when you don't get, and it's not just limited to Currency. It's just a bunch of rappers.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Everybody. There's no real like safe space to like send beats to folks.
Exactly.
And you said you're in your underwear, you're just sending them out. So at that point, you're just kind of like, what day was it? Like, how many years in were you in on this already?
Fuck, I must have been maybe 5 years into my production.
Yeah.
Just
Shit.
making beats all the fucking time and just all the time, bro. I mean, I didn't work, you know.
Yeah.
So I was just making beats and hustling. Wake up, just make beats,
Hell
you know,
yeah.
make all the fucking time. And so it was crazy for me to kind of have that happen to me, you know.
Which song was it? You said
You don't got a clue.
You don't got a clue.
That was
Yeah.
dope.
Oh, hell yeah.
I saw on another interview where you were talking about how some of the favorite songs that Nip had were the ones you produced, not necessarily because of the music that you were making or the tracks. It was because of what he was saying. So like, what was some of the most memorable like I guess bars that he spit on your track? And what was your favorite one?
For me, my favorite song of Nip, you know, outside of you know, some of the stuff that, you know, that he's done even then and like other producers that I had, to me, my favorite track is Crenshaw's Lost and True Story.
Yeah,
because he told his story about himself. And I was lucky that it got to be my beat.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, it was just like him telling his story through a beat. You know, they played it at his funeral. And you know, along, I think the only one that was kind of more vibey and it was like just more of like a West Coast track, it was Killer. You know, it was just talking about smoking weed in the car. You know,
I'm
so
about
it
to
was
tell you, yeah.
So like, I just love that one because I smoke weed, so like, it's cool to have a smoking song. You know,
Smoking Killer.
Yeah, you know, so you're just able to reflect on that. But for me, it was cool to be able to think about producing tracks where Nip was able to kind of like tell glimpses of his story. And you know, You Don't Got a Clue was pretty controversial.
Yeah.
I didn't know about it at first, but it was kind of like the record where he was speaking to, you know, the forces in his neighborhood that were kind of holding him back. And at the time, you know, it was my understanding that, you know, the neighborhood had divided to those that kind of supported Nipsey, and then, you know, those that
Opposed.
had not necessarily opposed, but they had a loyalty to maintain to, you know, to other forces, you know. So for me, it was like, I was like, oh shit, like it was kind of like, fuck, you know, this is you know, like
this is how it's gonna go.
This is some shit,
yeah,
you know,
this
like he's throwing up the middle finger to some people, you know, figuratively. And you know, I'm out here like, oh, I produced this track, you know, I didn't really know until like I came about it, and I was like, okay, because there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of politics that were and are always involved in large groups.
Yeah.
You know? So for me, it was just having that. It was dope to be able to kind of be that kind of producer, to be like, okay, like Nipsey's gonna say some shit in my type of beat, you know, and maybe that's what I bring out or whatever, you know.
So how was the energy in the studio working with them? I bet it was great, dude.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people, you know, are kind of, maybe their perception of like what an artist should do and like what an engineer should do is like maybe what they might think, but you know, I always say, like, for me, I always try to just be a conduit, you know. Nipsey was self-sufficient, you know, like when I pulled up to a studio, like all the time, like he had a setup where he had a screen and he was able to record himself. So he would record himself all the fucking time.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I would just come and just roll up and mix, you know, what he recorded,
mixing.
or if he wanted to kind of have the duality, that role where he's like, you're the engineer, I'm just the artist today, I would play my role in that position, you know. But if he wanted to come and just vibe out and do his thing, I would just support it, like, you know, or I would tell him, hey, bro, you know, this is wrong, or like, hey, I can't hear you, like, you know, whatever, you know, to kind of assist him in that situation.
Yeah.
But for me, it was just always like, I knew that he was on his way to become something. Like very early on, you know.
Yeah.
Working with him and Jorge were the first people that I was able to talk about like books like this. You know, talk about like Think and Grow Rich. You know, talk about like, you know, the story of Warren Buffett. Talk about, you know, we you know, my studio, I set it up in a similar fashion where it's like, you know, I have my green room and it's like I'm always watching documentaries, or I have books that I recommend to people. And so it's like, because that's what it did for me, bro. Like I was able to talk and speak to people about the things that I had been just discovering and thinking about myself, like self-expression and self-growth, you know, how to apply oneself and, you know, what kind of mentality it takes to kind of grow, and just knowing yourself. Those were the kind of first people so for me, it was just always like this, I was just grateful, bro.
Yeah.
I was grateful. I mean, I came from the internet. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like, I was granted access to, you know, his space and what he was doing. And, you know, I put in work.
Yeah.
But I was always just grateful.
Were you like reading these books before?
I was reading a lot of
really?
A lot of like the books I was reading on my own.
Oh,
you know, a lot
yeah.
of just I've always been into esoteric knowledge and it just different things, different perspectives. Never really was into fiction or anything like that. Like I was telling you guys about, similar to sports, you know, just it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
You know, I always just read about other things and how people achieved certain things. And when I got with them, they recommended me like one of the books the first book that really blew my mind was the 21 Immutable Laws of Branding. It was just like, I don't know if you guys heard that.
I haven't heard that one.
I saw that book in George Paniche's office.
Yeah. So that one really was one of the first books that like, you know, they recommended to me that was like, oh shit, like I never thought about these things, which is just like the perspective of branding and what it is to create a good product and what makes a good product, what makes good branding. You know, what are the key aspects that allow a product to go viral, you know, before concepts like viralism were
a thing.
Anything, you know. With them, it was just kind of like, always trying to find different books and be like, hey, but Nip, have you read this book? Have you read this book? So we're always just trying to put each other on.
What was that one quote he had? It was a video he posted. I think it was the one with Gary Vee where he wrote that quote about radicals. And I was like, man, dude, that was the first time I thought, damn, dude, he's really deep. Not only just from his music, it was just like he's really reading other stuff that's like expanding his mind. So like when you're inside that studio and you're working off of them, do you feel like that's where you're supposed to be? Like everything culminated into like everything that you went through was to be in that place in that
100%.
moment.
Yeah, 100%.
Would you visualize all that?
Yeah, bro. I mean, I come from nothing. Literally, like I crossed the border with the coyote. You feel me? Like, so I come from zero.
Yeah.
You know, so for me to be able to be in those spots, I try. You know, I tried every moment of my existence not to take it for granted.
So how did it feel getting Grammy nominated on the stuff you worked on with Nip? Were your parents excited and all that stuff too?
It was cool. I just didn't like the premise, which it all kind of happened in. You know, like
I get you. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think I was kind of I'm not gonna lie. I think I don't know who won it that year. I think it was Iggy or something. Yeah, I think she won it that year.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure.
Like that,
I was excited just because you know, you put in so much work.
Yeah.
You know, I'm an engineer, so I mean, luckily I was able to produce, but it's just good to feel recognized. You know.
Yeah. So did you guys go to the show? I'm assuming you guys all went to the Grammy show.
Yeah.
How was that, dude?
It was dope as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was good because everybody was, you know, Nipsey was always thinking about all these things all the time. You know, we were talking about all these things at the time. You know, and around the time where I got the Grammy nomination, I was already doing more business.
Yeah.
We kind of I was just sending him beats to produce, and I was just tapping in with them. So I wasn't at that point like his day-to-day engineer.
Yeah.
But it was just really dope to have. I mean, bro, I was working on Victory Lap in like 2016, 2017.
Crazy.
Oh, shit.
You know?
Yeah.
A long time before any of that stuff, you know, like materialized. So for me, it was just like, oh shit, you know, like
it's getting there. It's,
you know, we're here.
Yeah.
We're at this place.
Why is it that he that you know you worked on a lot of projects with him? The mixtape. Why is it that it was just Victory Lap that's gonna? Did he plan that out? Was that on purpose?
Yeah, no. That was planned out. Back in, like I said, 2017, we were already cutting records for that. You know, so, but I think. You know, now looking back, I don't think that was the Victory Lap, you know, because Victory Lap was supposed to be a victory lap. Like, you know, Nipsey grew his fan base. crescendoed into him becoming now like massive artist, because I don't know if you guys remember that magazine that was putting out the
freshman.
Yes, the freshman class.
XL or something.
Triple XL freshman.
Triple
class.
XL, that's what it
And
is.
so like all his classmates, in that sense, it was Drake, it was Cardi B, it was Wiz Khalifa. So they had already turned the page, and for him it was about independence. So it was good that he held out, and we got to that point where it was like, oh shit, Nip is truly independent.
Hell yeah.
He had stricken a deal with a major label to push his own label instead of like going in the traditional route, which is like, oh, you're a great artist, and then someone gives you a $2 million loan or whatever,
And now you give up all creative.
For sure. You give up a lot of creativity.
Yeah.
A lot of folks out there, they're probably independent now, but what some fans might consider their best body of work, it's owned by somebody else.
Exactly.
And that's cool. I mean, that's also a way to put yourself on. I just think Nip had the foresight to see that.
He valued the work that you guys were all putting in. Yeah.
He valued is the hustle that that he was putting into it.
You and Jorge still keep in touch and stuff too?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah?
We tap in. I mean, he opened up a lot of doors for me.
Hell yeah.
He really. I mean, he was one of the only raza that was out there, grinding, in hip hop, which is there's not a lot. I mean, now it's really dope. I'm really excited to see that hip hop, has expanded. There's a lot more, and not only that, but I think the Latino community has found, their own lane. We have our own essence, and so for me, it was important to be able to contribute to pop culture, pop music, because call it what you may, but it was pop because it was popular, right? That's all that pop means. It's just popular music. So I was just happy to be part of pop culture at the time, being and coming from the upbringings that I had, because I didn't really have, people I could look up to in that sense.
Yeah. So are you guys doing any future projects there? You and like Jorge or like, I guess All Money In or anything or?
Yeah, no, I think that they maintained the estate and just kind of push forward into all the ideas that Nipsey had. So like the cannabis and like the multiple products and things like that.
Marathon burgers too.
Yeah,
I've
so
seen that.
I don't partake in a lot of the stuff that they're doing, but Jorge and I still work
Okay.
very closely. Like, I mean, I still know and I still talk to those guys. I still pull up to all the events, support and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it's, they've got their hands full.
Yeah.
And Jorge and I, like how I met, Caesar, we'll always introduce each other to like,
the new people.
business and just, try to maintain that, line of communication open. That's my brother, Dude, so it's like, dope. I have nothing but mad respect for homie,
They said you guys play basketball. You guys go play ball.
No, I never really got to play. Yeah, I never really got to. You know what? Did we play basketball? Yeah. I think we might have played basketball one, and he's pretty good. Like I said, I'm not the greatest at especially basketball. We get out in the soccer field, put cleats on me,
You'll run a couple circles around everybody.
But he was always playing basketball. I think he's always been a basketball dude. So I think at a couple of studios, he's like, "Yo, let's hoop it."
Hell yeah.
It wasn't in my favor. I'll just say,
maybe.
But, so.
What are any stories you got with Nip and George? I heard one that you guys were like in Miami and you guys pull up to a store, come out, and he's in handcuffs. It's that's a wild one, bro.
I'll say it again. So like, my brother Jorge, and I always say like he's one of the he was inspiring me when I met him because he comes from extremely humble beginnings, just like me, and his family as well. And at the time he wasn't driving, so like I helped him. Like I helped him learn how to drive. Like he was already learning, but I was like, yo, like bro, like I'll loan you my car, like I'll help you out and things like that. So like I've always like tried to like be there for my brothers just like they were there for me. But with that being said, like he didn't have papers at the time, so like we're always trying to make sure like we didn't do any fuck shit that would get him in trouble, especially out in the wild.
Yeah.
And so that day, we pull up. I think I was driving. Yeah. And Nip is like, pull up right here, and it's a handicap spot. So, and we're in Miami. It's just a bunch of brown boys in Miami. And in the nice part of Miami, because we had like a mansion.
Right.
And so we stood out like a motherfucker. And so we get out, go inside, Nip grabs some backwoods. We come outside, and Jorge's in handcuffs, bro.
Damn.
And we're like,
what the hell happened,
what the fuck
bro?
happened, bro? Like, he was in fucking handicapped. The cop pulled up, and he's like,
Get out the
smell
car.
weed.
Damn,
He popped
son.
open the glove compartment, and there was a bag of weed there, and it was just like they pulled him out, and Nip and I were just like, bro, like this can't be happening right now. Like, this is not the guy that we want to get arrested for any type of reason. You know what I'm saying? So like, Nip is like,
he don't
yo,
drink or
my...
smoke, does he?
No,
Yeah,
you know, he's never drank. But you know, he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke.
Yeah.
And so Nip and I were like fucking, we were tripping, bro. And like, Nip is like, it's my weed, you know, take me. And I was like, no, it's my weed, you know. And he's like,
Take
no.
me.
He was in the car, we're taking him.
You're
and I was
kidding
like,
me.
fuck. And it was like, I think it was like a Thursday or Friday, so it was getting close to the weekend.
Yeah.
So he had to spend the night in jail and all that stuff, and we were able to get him out. And luckily, and I hope it didn't, you know, affect him later down the line. I think the charges are dropped. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So I won't speak to that, but it was just like, fuck, bro. Like,
Do you guys laugh about it now?
yeah, you know, I talk about it now, and like, you know, I mentioned it to him before, and you know, we laughed about it afterwards, and you know, the days, because we were still there for a while.
What were you guys doing in Miami? You guys were just...
We're recording for Victory Lap. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So I think at the time, you know, he had just on the low had just signed a deal with Atlantic, so and nobody knew. So it was like they're like, hey, you know, we want an album, and whoop de whoop de woo. So Nip negotiated, you know, for us to go out there in Miami and just cut a bunch of records.
Dude,
and
that's
so we
dope
went out there
as
and just
shit.
worked, you know.
Hell
Connected
yeah.
with some folks out here, connected with some people.
Yeah. So what are like some other artists that you've worked with that like I guess kind of like the Dom Kennedys, Nipsey, and then is there anyone else you've worked with that you're like, damn, accomplishment for sure?
YG pulled
oh,
up.
you worked with
Yeah,
YG?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, he
hell
pulled
yeah.
up. Marsha Ambrosia, which she sings real big.
Okay.
I recorded her at Nip Studio.
Hell yeah.
Lil Boosie.
Oh,
so,
shit.
Rap Niggas was originally had a Little Boosie in
Yeah.
it, and actually, you know, with my brother Scheme when we were on tour, this was actually really dope to, you know, just been able to help him out. And he was a writer. He was writing for Iggy, and we cut Black Widow in like a bus. I don't know if you guys heard Black Widow, like Black Widow, baby.
Have you heard it?
For who?
For Iggy Azalea.
Oh, no.
You never heard that song?
Yeah,
It's a fucking it's a hit, bro. It's a huge
Is
shit.
it? Yeah.
Man,
The song is
I
called
just
Black
scared
Widow.
when
Yeah, the song is called Black Widow. So, you know, I helped him cut that record.
Yeah.
Been in the studio with Young Thug.
Oh, shit.
A bunch of Atlanta cats, you know.
How's
Yeah.
YG? Is he a cool cat?
Yeah, he's super cool
Yeah,
cat, bro.
chill dude.
Respect
He's not
to
as
YG.
intimidating as
No,
people
bro,
make him out to be.
YG's a very nice person.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on, you know, which coin you're trying to land on with
Yeah.
him in the situation. But everybody, you know, I met, you know, work with Nano. I work with like RJ, you know, all those homies. Like I've worked with all of them, and like I've had interactions with them. It was dope as fuck. You know, it's
Chill.
funny. You're making me think. Going back to funny interactions, there was a situation where I actually have a picture on my Instagram where it's me, Nipsey, and Quick, and
shit.
we're working with Quick trying to, you know, get a mix from him, and you know, we're trying to get him and Nip to work together. And Nip is like, yo, we're not gonna make it. Like, this is not gonna happen. Like, we have to be at a show here, not at a show there. And I was like, bro, I'll drive you to both shows. So I was like, yo, I was playing my part, bro. I was trying to be a facilitator.
Right.
So I was like, I'll drive you to Quick's, and then we cut the record down, and we'll speed off. So we go to Quick's. You know, for me, it was like a dope moment. You know, I got to work with Quick and mix a song and shit
Hell
like that.
yeah, dude.
Dope producer.
But then we fucking, you know, at the time I had my BMW was at the dealer, so I had like a loaner, and I was like, yo, let's fucking take the loaner. I'll drive us to Fresno because we had a show in Fresno, and so fucking drove us to Fresno. We get there last minute. Nip is about to go on. It was Nip and YG. We get there last minute. YG just stepped off the stage, and I think it was one of these situations where like it's like a basement situation. So we get there. YG and his crew are coming out of the elevator. We're showing up, and he's like, "Oh, what's up?" Woo-de-woo. And like they shake hands, like pull up, like just fuck with us. So everybody gets in the elevator.
Yeah.
We head down, and we get stuck.
Oh my God!
In the elevator?
Way, bro.
Damn, that's the worst nightmare.
For 2
right there,
hours.
bro.
What the fuck?
How many deep
With
in the
a bunch
elevator?
of Crips and a bunch of Bloods. And I'm just like,
You're like, it's getting sweaty.
well, this can only go one way, right? No, but it was cool.
chill.
It was
Yeah.
it was mellow as fuck. Everybody has like mad respect for each other, you know. But it did get a little heated because like there was some foods that it was crazy because we had no water. We just had vodka and like tequila, and I remember Nip like sparking up. And think about like being outside right now,
Yeah.
but like in a confined space,
Yeah.
and people were like, "What the fuck's going on?" You know, like,
Why is he
this
lighting
like,
this shit?
like I can't breathe, you know. Like, so like that happened, and then
That's wild.
the firefighters show up, and we had just cracked open the door, but it
Yeah.
was just a wall, right? But we were getting like this nice drive.
Little ventilation.
Yeah, I was sitting down next to YG. I was like, "You good, bro?" He's like, "Yeah, you good?" I was like, "Yeah, it's good." And then the homies like they opened up the door, and it was cool. And then the cops were like, "You have to close the door so we can reset the system." And so fools wanted to close the door, but some fools were getting claustrophobic.
No
So it was
way,
like getting
bro.
heated a little bit.
Yeah.
And so there was like this moment, this like really tense fucking moment, bro. Because it was like each other's bodyguards were kind of like, no, you
No,
know.
fuck
Yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was, and then, but I don't know who kind of calmed everybody down, but we calmed everybody down. Like, yo, chill, everybody chill. Damn. Like it's all good. We're about to
get the fuck out.
Yeah. And then also after 3 hours, we get out, and we did the show and everything. But it was just
Still
like,
got the show done too.
Dude,
Damn.
damn. What were they telling the crowd? They stuck
exactly
in the
that.
elevator.
Nip is stuck in the elevator with YG, you know. So everybody waited, you know.
That's
so we got
crazy.
out, we did the show, and it was
Bro.
dope.
So nowadays you're in the studio. Who are you working with now that you're like, damn, this is the guy or this is the girl?
Man, I'm working with Doughboy Tony. I know we talked
Doughboy
about him.
Tony.
I really fuck with
Yeah.
what he stands for, and I really kind of came privy to him because he was out here just, everybody like the Chicano culture really respects him. You know,
Yeah.
like he gets called out all the time. You know, so I was like, yo, like,
Come
like,
through.
like I'm Mexican. You know, so I was like, yo, like. I was fortunate enough to have been part of, something that will go down in history. And so I wanted to kind of be a stepping stone for that, to kind of help somebody out in that sense,
Yeah.
And really like, I had already tried different things with different artists and wasn't as successful helping other artists.
Yeah.
But I think it's because, you can't help those who don't want to be helped. And meeting up with Tony and being able to work with him, he already had a foundation. He already had.
He
an
was ready.
audience. He already. I can just add value to what he's got going
Yeah.
on. So, I really fuck with what he's doing.
Yeah.
What he represents for people out here.
Yeah.
And just keeping my ear out. And right now what I'm doing is for a very, very long time, I wanted to figure out a way to take something from the Latin Mexican culture and bring it into hip hop. You know, I felt that I was in a unique position to do that. I've been in the trenches in hip hop. I've been in a bunch of different producers. I've been fortunate to work with a lot of different producers and
Right.
who have been pioneering hip hop and adding to what the story of hip hop because
Yeah.
it goes back way back. The story of hip hop culture is a massive one.
Yeah.
And so what I wanted to do was to kind of be able to take that influence that I was bestowed on me and to kind of blend it. And what I've been working on with him is my interpretation of corridos in hip hop, because corridos are pretty big. But I think that everybody have been, corridos in hip hop have been doing them. People have been doing them wrong, and people have tried it.
How so they've been doing it wrong?
I don't want to give away the sauce.
Okay, all right, yeah.
But it has to deal with how we approach taking essence from another culture and bring it into hip hop. I think it's just backwards. I think instead of taking hip hop, I think it's taking corridos and bringing it to hip hop. I think I brought hip hop to corridos.
Hell yeah, bro.
So that's my perspective. So we just started kind of doing that. We have a couple of tracks out that we just did, which is that it's in, for me, I'm really trying to crack open a different genre. I kind of feel we're in a pretty in a particular place in time. I kind of feel the same way as when I kind of started doing music, where it was like rock was pretty big, and then you had all these different branches of rock and roll that kind of like just all these things. And I think that that's what's going to happen to corrido movement. And I'm not talking about like reggaeton. That's not what I'm talking about. And reggaeton's always going to be reggaeton.
Yeah.
You know, trap reggaeton's always going to be trap reggaeton. But I think that there's something that I've found in, you know, and if people want to figure out what I'm doing, they can just go listen to Doughboy Tony. And because that's what it was, you know.
Cuánto yo le batallé a llegar a este nivel. Billete ganando y sigo por más. Motita morrada me pone relax. Pensando en todas mis metas que voy a lograr. Morritas bonitas me quitan el estrés, no lo puedo negar. De fiesta con copas, están listos pa' todo arriesgar. You suckers is dormant. We get to the spot, they know we important. Got some bottles on deck, keep it lit in the section. These females, they love it, they don't gotta mention. I can tell how they moving, they show the affection. Baddies love some attention.
What I think that what we're doing and the concept that we're trying to bring together is that it is one of the facets, one of the faces of what this corrido movement's gonna open up to.
Yeah, bro.
You know, because I mean, Fuerza Regi's not just doing corridos now; they're doing all kinds of shit. You know, and you see that. And for me, it was obvious, bro. I mean, you see corridos, and you know, all these homies. It's like you turn off the music and you're looking at a rap video, bro. It's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They're trying to integrate this.
They're trying to integrate this.
Yeah.
And so I'm coming from this perspective in that direction. So I feel fortunate because, you know, I've been in the trenches with a lot of these hip hop producers and I know all their tricks. So I'm just like going through my old bag of tricks. And they're all working in this new genre. So that's kind of what I've been focusing.
How did you guys link up? You just hit him up, or?
You know, my boy Frank, he actually tapped us in. Frank and I have a recording studio together. We're business partners in our record label, and he got kind of just keeping his eye out. He's like, yo, work with this dude. So he kind of brought Tony to me. We started doing, in the beginning, we were doing more along the lines of like taking like funk and like doing some hip hop funk, because that's, you know, Tony's at the time Tony's audience was like mad funk. Like there's a lot of like, he would get called out to a lot of funk shows and things. He wasn't doing funk, but he really, like, the, you know, Chicano community really fuck with them.
Yeah.
And so he would, you know, we're like, fuck it, let's start doing some of this funk shit. Some of like Larry Jr.'s, Dom Kennedy. And so I was like, yo, like bro reminds me of these vibes, you know? So like, I was like, it's just only natural.
Yep.
So we started doing that and it was really good. People really fucking with that. But, you know, I think deep down inside, he's like, yo, I've always wanted to just do corridos and do kind of that vibe. So when he kind of gave me the go-ahead from a perspective of like, yo, like I'm kind of ready for that. I kind of just started to switch gears and to kind of just put my thought process into that. Yeah.
So how is it going from like recording like rap tracks to that? Like, I feel like they are different genres. Is it tough to adjust producing them?
You know what? I've done other genres. You know, like I've done dance music. I was with one of my good homies, Aristotle. He's like an EDM DJ. He and I did a bunch of reggae. So we did this remix that was put out by what was it? It was a Sublime tribute. It's called Ruka, and we redid that track. So I've been doing reggae. I've been doing dance music. I've done other types of recordings. Yeah. So it wasn't necessarily like a huge shift. I think it was more or less like I kind of applied the same thought process as when I was creating, you know, when I was in these big writer groups. I was like, okay, how do we do it over here, and how can I bring those ideas into what I've got going on, you know? Because in hip hop, you know, the best way to make beats is like you get a bunch of different players and you just play a bunch of shit. Then you cut those things up and you hand them over to producers that are in the studio, and everybody just makes beats. You have like this kind of sample, like this thing that feeds you samples, you know? So for me, it was, I was like, how can I kind of take that vibe? And so I just connected with my boy Adrian. He's like a requintero. He's like an instrumentalist.
Yeah.
So I just have him. He does all the playing and all that stuff, and I just hip hopify it, if you may will. Just kind of structure it, give it the thought process, because it's not, for me, it's not just like, oh, let me just add this. Everything is methodical for me. Like I look at what these young kids doing corridos. I look at what they're trying to do from the like them adopting hip hop, and I'm like, okay, this is how we're gonna take what they're doing and bring it over here.
It's delicate, huh? It's like overseasoning some meat too. You can't overdo one thing or the other.
For sure. Yeah. And for me, it's kind of cracking genres open. Like right now we got a couple of different things that we're working on. Like we have like this modern corrido sound, which is like more in line like what you would call like a modern hip hop sound, and then we have corrido boom bap, which nobody's ever done. I think a 90s boom bap. Now think about it in corrido.
Interesting.
Right. Yeah. Nobody's ever fucking done that.
That's
Nobody's even thought about it.
You're pioneering.
You're pioneering,
that.
bro.
We just dropped a track called Chocolate, which is like, it just gives you like that hip hop feel, but it's structured and it has the essences of corridos.
Dude.
And I don't know if you knew, but corridos come from polka.
Oh, polka,
So
interesting.
So it's mad influence from Russia and Eastern.
Yeah.
So you dug deeper than just
bro.
the
This
Mexican
is
influence.
deep.
That's
So there's a
dope, bro.
formula to what we got going on. So we've got the modern hip hop, we got corrido boom baps, and then we have like a corrido R&B that we also are doing. That's like this new vibe that we've got going. And then I just started doing like corrido street, which is like what you might kind of consider more like just like the gutter street records, like more in line with like a Lefty Gunplay or things like that. Like just street shit, just straight up West Coast street shit. So I was like, okay, how can I take these street drums that I'm hearing and that I've produced for before, but turn it into corrido, So we're trying to kind of attack all these genres, just like how you would in hip hop. Be like, okay, I need one for the ladies. So I need an R&B track. I need one for the club. I need one for the streets. As an artist, you always have that in your mind, like, oh, I need an intro. And so for what we're doing, I'm like, we need to do the same shit. It's like I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. I'm just trying to move the spokes around a little bit so we can go in a different terrain.
Exactly.
So that's kind of where my main focus is right now. It's like exploring different branches of this little carving that I took out on the side, and it's gonna be hard,
Producer wise, like when you put on the producer cap, like is there any artists right now, current artists that you can kind of see fitting into the new sound that you're trying to put out?
It's funny, and I'll look them up just because and I don't want to butcher it, and we just kind of started. I just kind of started tapping in with homie. But I believe I'm saying correctly is Chihuetzaco. So he's a rapper, but he raps in the native Mexican language. He's dope.
What is it?
Natual. I don't want to butcher.
I don't want to butcher that either.
But it's not natural, or I've got to re-educate myself on the pronunciation.
We'll put it
but
right
he's
down here
dope
for
as
you.
fuck. He popped up on my feed, and I think my cousin and a lot of people follow him, so he popped up on my feed, and he's rapping this like in English and his Spanish and his native language. And I was like, I just straight up hit him. I was like, bro, like, I fuck with what you're doing. Let's work. He hit me up. This literally just happened. So I was like, yo, like, that's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people that are authentic and that I can tell that they're doing like hip hop. And I'm like, yo, you might not need to do the full hip hop sound. We might have something special over here. So that's kind of what I'm trying to go for. Just find people that I could connect with. And that kind of resonate with my upbringing and where I come from. Just because like I feel blessed to be in this position. Like how many people in Mexico, in the entirety of Mexico, besides Jorge Peniche, can say, like, hey, we work with the Tupac, the Biggie, the Jay-Z, and the Malcolm X of our generation. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many people can say that? So I want to use that blessing to be able to for whatever is worth to help somebody else out.
So what'd you think of that tribute they did for Nipsey on Juneteenth with Kendrick Lamar and everything?
Oh, bro, I thought that was fucking dope as fuck. I mean, Kendrick is just he knows what he's doing. I think he understands. I mean, not to say that he never did, But I think he's hyper aware.
He's another one,
Where that he's the one. So I think that if he hadn't done that, it would have been questionable.
Yeah.
But and not in a bad sense, but it's just like, you know, people start to make up their own ideas. But I think that really solidified what Nipsey meant to all the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
You know, what he did for everybody, because Nip really brought people together. I mean, he was treating, you know, he was doing tracks with YG like they're brothers, bro. I mean, you know, fuck Donald Trump, bro. Like, and you know, with that being said, you know, I you know, and I'll say, and I say it once and I say it again, you know, I respect a lot of things that's happened, but I really wish that more rappers would have stood up during COVID, and when, you know, we were looking for something like that, some sort of voice, some sort of fuck Donald Trump vibe. So for that, I miss Nipsey. You know, because I know that he would have said something for us.
Yeah, exactly. You know? I feel like
I just wish that, you know, rappers took their voice, not necessarily saying that they don't take themselves seriously. I just think that they should become aware of the power of their voice in the sense of what it can do to help people.
Exactly.
You know?
Especially with the platform they have and the people
100%.
watching. And all
because
that.
everything else is great. Like, I think that the more we push the culture, the more we, you know, and the more we keep elevating hip hop, and the more of what Kendrick is doing, it's all needed. But I think that we also need a political voice, like what Nipsey was.
Yeah, I feel like Nipsey was probably the last artist I can think of that has done anything or brought together a community. And you know, Kendrick doing that, I think, you know, it was something
I think
LA
he's got
needed.
his foot forward. Yeah. I'm excited to see what he does next, for sure.
See what that album is about,
for sure.
you know?
Yeah, for
Hell
sure.
yeah, dude.
For sure. So I'm excited for that. Hopefully, he inspired a lot of other people to be like, oh shit, you know, I gotta
say something.
I gotta say something, you know. So, but you know, that was the only thing that I feel some sort of like I'm just like to hip hop, you know, just like, come on, you know, let's.
Because very few artists kind of inspire people to mobilize and take action.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
People will mobilize for anything, and we mobilized to support Kendrick, you know, in this whole situation with, like, you know, Drake and all that stuff. That was entertaining, but I think it's good to mobilize with conviction, and maybe that was his way of doing it. I like I said, I don't know what that book looks like. Maybe that's the first page in this book. But I think that for me, I've just been missing that. You know, I've been missing that kind of voice where it's like, oh shit, like this fool's fucking saying exactly what I'm thinking.
So like when you go through like challenges or like you're going through some, do you ever hear Nipsey in your head?
I play back Nipsey.
Yeah,
bro, I hear Nipsey in my head all the fucking time. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know if I'm just nuts. You know, but but
you feel like he's talking to you when there's something going on.
Yeah.
What's an instant that he just like you could just hear him just kind of saying some words of like,
I mean,
man,
bro, you know, a couple of years ago, I just kind of went through a rough patch. Just mentally and just with my career, you know, different things like that. And for me, it's just going back to the songs that, you know, we did together, you know, replaying, you know, lines in my head like, you know, what's a team if everybody depends on you, you know? Those words, you know, in my head, like just playing the songs that we did together. I feel like he's speaking to me. Like, you know, like he's every time, like it helps me at that moment. Like, oh shit, like, yeah, man, I gotta just keep 10 toes down and keep going, you know? And so I just played Nipsey when I'm going through some shit. Like I played like the old records and I feel like he's like, I feel like fuck, you know?
Yeah.
Because like, bro, like, I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, like he was talking, but bro was talking to people like me, bro. When I was fucking with Nipsey, bro, like I was on. Like I didn't, I was pulling up in a brand new M3, you know what I'm saying? Like with my peer producers, like they were asking me for a ride. You know what I'm saying? So like he was talking to hustlers like me, bro.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I never asked for no handouts, bro. I was pulling up with turkey bag. You know what I'm saying? On already. Like I didn't need handouts from anybody. You know what I'm saying? And I knew he saw that. He recognized that, you know. And
he's like, I need this guy on my team for sure.
Like I don't know if he
bosses with bosses.
100%. And he respected me for that. You know, and I'll tell people like, you know, a lot of people might have done a lot of different things and dealt with Nipsey in a lot of different ways, but I can for sure 100% say I had his respect. You know, a lot of people had that. You might have like done a song with him, and you might have been in the studio with him, but like I had his respect.
Yeah,
he respected.
He didn't. You guys had a relationship. He didn't have with many. You didn't. They didn't know him like you guys knew.
Yeah,
like you knew him
for sure. Like when we were in the trenches, and when I was like really doing me and like taking a lot of things that he would say, like I was, you know, I was doing me.
Hell yeah.
And I was holding up to my name, you know.
Yeah.
And I knew he was speaking to hustlers and to people that, you know, needed a little bit of a push.
So those tracks that you go back to, do you ever go back and like you hear something new that you didn't even hear before, you didn't even realize before, and you're just like, man, dude.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's those times when like, you know, I'm feeling down, or like, you know, I feel like life is, you know, gone a hold of me or whatever.
Tough.
Yeah. I just kind of listen to that shit, and I'm just like, fuck, bro. Like, and I miss it. Like, it's crazy you have Russ, because my cousin just put me on. And Russ kind of makes me feel that way too.
Independent artist, just doing it all on his own, man. Owner of his own shit.
Need some expert advice, so I talk to myself.
Damn,
yes,
bro.
sir.
Yeah,
that's how you do it, man.
You know?
Yep. So if you could give
He's got
advice,
his own mastermind in his head.
Yeah. So if you could give advice to aspiring artists, or you know, people that are just trying to do it out here, what would you tell them?
Man, I tell them, build a team. You know, find people you fuck with. Find people that will ride this out with you. But also, don't be afraid to be on your own. And don't be afraid to like move on. You know, I'm fortunate and unfortunate. I grew up, I didn't really have like a lot of best friends, so I've never had like a solid perspective of what like a best friend is, and then maybe that's my weakness. But what it helped me was that I don't feel tied down to certain people the way some people might feel tied down to. And I've had to give advice to people they're like, fuck, bro, I've been working with this fool for a very long time. I'm like, you gonna die alone, bro.
Yeah.
So
either way, you gotta
unless he's planning to go with you, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta do you. You know,
you gotta branch off.
You gotta do what you gotta live up to your expectations. You know.
Yeah.
So, and also at the same time, you know, don't be afraid to take a chance on yourself. You know, I can't count the times that I've, you know, walked away with the short end of the stick, but I walk away with my dignity, bro.
Yeah.
You know, like every situation that I walked away from, for 1,000%, like it's always been like, bro, I need you. You need me more than I need you, bro. Yeah. Like I don't need more idea guys around me.
Yeah.
Like I am the idea guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, unless you're a doer, like we ain't got nothing to talk about.
Exactly,
So
bro.
like that's how I move, you know. So for me, it's like telling people to build that stamina up for yourself, because it's like who you rock with today might not be who you rock with tomorrow. You know, and but at the same time be loyal to the ones that are loyal to you.
Hell
you know,
yeah,
and be able to identify that. And having that opportunity to know when to make that switch. I think we might make the mistakes of thinking, oh, loyalty, you know, but you can't mistake loyalty for weakness. You can't mistake loyalty for, what's the word I'm looking for? Being blindsided.
Yeah, I feel that. It's like you can't just follow somebody off a bridge. You know what I mean? You got to help them get across the bridge rather than,
And I think as an artist too, as a producer and as an engineer, you know, if you haven't done a project, find someone you can do a project for. And don't do it for them. Do it for yourself.
Do it for yourself, for that experience.
You know, put that experience.
Yep.
So you can be like, oh yeah, I put a whole album together. I know what it takes. You know, I know this is what it takes. I know this is a process. And so the more you
DJ a whole show for a famous rapper, you know?
Yeah, that's it. You know,
so you DJ learning in 2 weeks.
You know
Exactly.
just teach yourself. You know, don't be afraid to learn something new, and don't be afraid to send your music to people. You know, don't be afraid to send a beat out. You know, if you're worried that someone's gonna steal your idea, then just make beats and keep them.
Just,
you know, because someone will steal your idea. It's gonna happen. It's happened to me. It's happened to a bunch of people. You know, like, and it's gonna happen. But that just means you're on the right track. Yeah. And if you're worried about one song, then that's it. Then you probably should have just held on to that one song, and that's it, and then move on to something else. You know.
Yeah.
But if you want to really actually make an impact, you just have to keep pushing through.
Keep going.
Just keep pushing through and fuck with who fucks with you.
Yeah,
that's really what it is. Fuck with who fucks with you, and be loyal to those who are loyal to you. You know, that's what I would tell people. You know, but focus on your craft. Become invaluable to a situation.
Hone it and
become invaluable, bro. Because if you're invaluable to a situation, you
undeniable.
You know,
I tell
undeniable
myself
worth,
that,
bro.
yeah.
Undeniable worth. Just become undeniable. If you can't say, oh, I've already done that and it didn't work out for me, then you have something to do.
Yeah.
And if you've done that and it didn't work out for you, then your next thing to do is don't let other situations define who you are. And that's me talking into a mirror, you know?
Yeah.
Because I've let situations define who I am. And that's something that I have to keep reminding myself.
Yeah.
Because it's the hardest thing about being an artist is not allowing situations to define who you are.
Yeah.
You know? And it's not easy.
You see, I almost feel like even when you said, you said you pretty much faked it till you made it, but you also manifested it in the same the same time.
I didn't
bro.
like that. I didn't like, but I wasn't gonna have an empty conversation with someone.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna let an opportunity
Slip.
Yeah. You know, I didn't know who I was talking to.
Yeah.
I just know that I was in the right places.
Yeah.
You know.
But you see, that's the thing. If you don't tell yourself that, it's like you're not
100%.
going to have that confidence to go up there and be like, "Yo,
For
this is
sure.
me." So
For
it's like
sure.
it's a
You owe it to
manifestation right
yourself.
there. Yeah, exactly,
You
man.
gotta talk to yourself. You know.
And you got to know, like, hey, man, I am what I want to be, and this is it. You
Yeah.
know. So this next segment is more like a this or that segment.
Okay.
A little fun questions.
All right.
Let's see what WIZZO is about right here. All right.
All right, let's see how we do.
So the first one is Nikes or Adidas.
I'm a breakdancer. Adidas.
Adidas.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm an old school b-boy.
Run DMC, all that. Yeah.
I just skimmed through that part of my life.
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah.
But I'm an old school b-boy, so Adidas.
Gold chains or diamond grills?
Gold chains.
What is it about diamond grills? Everyone always skips over the
Man,
diamond
you can
grills.
melt the gold, bro. Resell.
Bro, I can't tell you how many chains I've had and changed up to double down on the work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's asset, bro.
Yes,
Hell
sir.
yeah. Old school or new school rap?
I don't want to sound like an old head, but it's hard to gravitate towards anything new. So old school.
Late night studio sessions or early morning sessions?
I like early morning sessions.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do. I've recently started to get into morning sessions.
Yeah.
Hey, it depends on the vibe too, huh?
Yeah.
What you want to get.
Yeah. Sometimes I've been up late. Like
Yeah.
it's just vibe. But like I feel from the perspective of like me, like kind of, at least now what I'm doing for people, like I want to see what they're made of. So I think an early morning session, it just drives it more out of you. Like,
Hell yeah.
you know, anybody can get high late at night and say some shit in the mic.
Yeah, exactly.
But can you wake
That's
up fucking
facts.
early,
And do
not
it.
drink anything, and be a boss and sound like,
Spit it.
you know what I'm saying?
How was Nipsey? Was he a late night studio guy?
Everything.
Oh, everything.
Yeah,
Didn't
he would-
matter.
bro, he would wait. We would get into the situation where I would pull up and I'm rolling up and he's like, I'm not smoking no more, bro. I'm like,
Dang.
What?
okay, we not smoking. Bro. And I would
We'll
just
leave it
not
alone.
smoke, pull
Yeah.
up early. You know, I would
Yeah.
pull up early to the studio, 10 a.m. I would be there, you know?
Hell
so it's
yeah.
like, we did that.
Underground or mainstream?
Underground,
Sample beats or original beats?
both.
Both.
Yeah. I just recently saw something that said, and I really was like, oh shit, you're right. I think producers were attenuating our creativity by not using the tools that are out there, including sample packs and sample beats. Yeah.
As producers, Kanye or Pharrell?
Kanye or Pharrell? Pharrell, because he's bro.
Yeah. No.
Who's his boy?
on,
who's
bro.
his boy with NERD?
Is it Chad?
Yeah, Chad,
Yeah.
dude. He's also you
Yeah,
can't
he's
sleep on him
dope.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
He's
you're a
like-
skater too, bro.
Yeah.
Come on.
Kick push.
Yeah, bro.
A couple of last questions. If you could have dinner with any historical figure, dead or alive, who would it be?
Any dinner with any historical figure? That's an interesting one. I've never thought about that question before. Dead or alive? I think right now I would like to get into like. Actually, you know what? Yes. You guys know who Jim Simons is?
Jim Simons?
Nah, put
I
us
don't
on.
think Put it-
So
yeah,
Jim
put us
Simons
on.
is, he is the most successful mathematician, stock trader in the planet.
Oh.
So Renaissance Technologies. He was a mathematician and he built a massive hedge fund from not wanting to be where he was at and conquering where he was at and then coming in and he died with his secrets. Like,
Oh, shit.
he is the most, like, you want to talk about accomplishments and like just all around extremely smart person. Jim Simons is
Jim Simons.
yeah,
Dude, I'm
he's
going to
like-
look him up. I'm into stocks and crypto and all that stuff, dude.
His mathematical models are like, they were doing 60% returns year over year for like Tens,
that's
tens, like
that's
decades,
unheard
bro.
of,
And
bro.
he didn't leave the formula behind.
I think that his situation has it down, but you know, you're talking about a pioneer. I mean, this dude, he didn't hire stock traders. He hired scientists and physicists and astrologers.
Crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, astrologers.
Yeah.
That's deep.
So I mean, just the foresight. I like looking and learning about minds that have incredible foresight.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be, you know, just the foresight, the concept to think about it. Because there's hundreds of mathematicians, but only one of them thought about creating a hedge fund with me, you know?
That's crazy.
It's pretty nuts, you know?
I'm gonna have
Just
to
a
look
math
him up.
teacher, you know? It's just like,
And lastly, if you weren't a producer, you'd be a.
you know, it's funny because there's security questions asked that when you create accounts and shit. I don't know
Give
if
us
you
your
knew
date
that.
of birth.
No
What's the last four of
way,
your
bro.
social?
For real. So any like social engineers, you know, there's a free one. I think I'll be a chef.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's also technical.
I enjoy cooking. It's the same concept.
Yeah.
You know, it's layers and tones.
Yeah.
There's different combinations, and it's a very methodical thing to do. You know, and at the same time, you're kind of you're doing a service for like humanity. You know.
Yeah.
It's like, and I say that because what we eat has a lot to do with who we are. You know, like so to be conscious about and to know about the things that you put in your body. You know, like NIPSEY used to teach, preach a lot about Dr. Sebi. You know, it's the
Dr. Sebi,
same kind of concept for me. But I don't know. I just enjoy cooking for whatever reason. Just like cooking.
Going on Dr. Sebi, do you believe in all that stuff like the CMOS
I'm
and
a
all
vegetarian,
that?
bro.
Oh, okay.
I've been a vegetarian
Hell
for 6 years.
Oh,
yeah.
damn, dude.
I don't eat no meat.
Congrats,
you know.
bro. Hell yeah, dude.
I eat CMOS. I do.
Yeah.
Have my morning
Hell yeah.
routine. You know. Producers, send me beats. I'll listen to them. But don't expect me to answer back. I mean, I'm saying this straight up. Don't dictate if you're good or not based off someone telling you you're cool or not.
Exactly.
You know, just be happy that you can send beats to. And if you have something that's crazy, bro, I don't front.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you know.
Exactly.
But what are we gonna do? Talk about the things that you should do, and then you're gonna explain to me why you didn't, and then I'm just gonna be like,
No, it's just all fucking excuses,
we're
bro.
just talking back and forth.
Yeah.
That's useless.
Yeah.
So send me beats, you know?
Hell yeah.
WIZZO at chalicelogica.com.
Yes,
There
sir.
you go. We'll
There
have the
you
link
go.
right there at the
Yeah,
bottom,
just
yo.
send me beats and, you know, producers. I'm always looking to see who's doing what or whatever. Like,
Hell yeah.
because like I said, I was given that opportunity. So if I can do that for someone, or if I can help someone be discovered in the sense that I can give them the game that they need to, because I'm not looking to hold hands with anybody.
Yeah.
you know?
They have to be ready.
They have to be ready. They have to have more than what I can bring them if they were new. You know?
So what makes and I know we just said we were gonna, but last question for me maybe. What do you see makes a artist ready and not ready? What's the difference?
Traction beneath their feet.
Okay.
You know? Like just simple shit like how's your social media? Just because like social media right now is where your first audience is, you know, like
I feel like it's like a credit score.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Like it's fundamental, you know. How many people are going to listen to your track? And I say it like in the sense like, yeah, you could have 1,000 followers, but maybe your YouTube's popping. Maybe people really fuck with you on YouTube, or your TikTok's fucking popping. You know, maybe people really fuck with you on TikTok. But I've already tried to kind of like 0 to 10, and it's very hard. I've actually feel that I've done more of a disservice because without making it extra long, I think that you can elevate an artist too fast and it gets to their heads and you don't help them. So now I try to I'm just trying to help people where I can add value to something.
Exactly.
I don't want to be the value.
Yeah.
I want to add value.
Yeah.
So if there's places where I can add value, like, dude, there's this kid from fuck, where is he from? Netherlands or something like that. He
Oh,
just
shit.
sends me beats. Like, bro, can I send you beats? I was like, send me
Hell
beats.
yeah.
He sends me sample packs all the time. And he's got a hella like placements, you know?
Hell yeah.
But he's hustling. Every week he sends me a new pack, bro.
Consistent.
Consistent, bro.
Consistency,
And I'm like, hey, bro, I fuck with you. And the thing that I do, when I saw him be that consistent, I tell him, I got it. I got it. I got it. I let him know that I received it.
Yeah. And
But
yeah.
that's all I do, though. And I just communication. I give him communication because he's crossed that barrier in my mind where it's like he wasn't like, hey, bro, did you like my sample packs? Like,
Yeah.
he just kept sending me shit, bro, so much that I was like, hey, man, like I fuck with you. So I'm going to let you know that I've listened to everything you sent so that you can feel inspired to keep sending me shit.
Hell yeah.
And it just so happened that a couple of things that he sent me, now I'm working with my homie from Hawaii, and I'm working on a project for him. And like now I have a source that I can, work with somebody,
Yeah.
and that didn't happen overnight. That didn't happen in 2-3 emails. Like, bro, this fool sent me, like, I have a special, like, filter in my inbox for this fool because he sends me so many fucking sample packs, you know?
Shout out to the kid
So
in
it's cool,
Netherlands,
man. His name
Hell
is
yeah.
Len, so
Hell yeah.
shout out to Len. Like, it's dope, bro. Like, it's tight to see someone like, they're just out there just cutting records, making sample
Always.
packs. So that's the kind of people that I like to work with. People
Consistency,
that
ready.
don't need my approval or anything like that, because I there was a moment where I felt like that too, and it was the wrong thing to feel. Like, you don't need anybody's approval to keep doing what you're doing.
Exactly.
So for me to give people that false sense of reality, it's not where I'm trying to be. Yeah.
I think that covers everything. That's WIZZO for you guys.
Thank you guys, and I appreciate what you guys are doing here, man. It's
you,
dope
man.
for the city.
Like my bank account, 100 racks, smoking killer. I pull up in that black on black, smoking killer. My AC on my ceiling crack, smoking killer. I wake up in this state of mind, like sky's the limit. My niggas strapped you across the line, well I'm gon' kill you. I'm focused on $1 million cash, that's the vision. Speeding and I'm finna crash, that's the feeling. But till my tires burn out and my wheels give out.